Hello everyone, I'm Gabby Vallandingham and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be continuing my films you need to see from blank decade, and this video will be part 2 of the 1950s. So I've already done the 1930s, the 1940s, and part 1 of the 1950s, which was 1950 through 1954, and today's video is going to be 1955 through 1959. The reason that I made the 1950s into 2 parts is because there are way too many films in the 1950s that I think everyone should see, and I couldn't pick just 5 or less, so we split up the decade. So yeah, if you like movies and you like me, just keep on watching. So the first film we are going to talk about is from 1955, and it is Alfred Hitchcock's To Catch a Thief. And it stars Cary Grant and Grace Kelly. A retired jewel thief sets out to prove his innocence after being suspected of returning to his former occupation. This movie, I love this movie. I think it's one of Alfred Hitchcock's best movies, but the main reason that I love this movie is the aesthetic of it. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. It's set in the French Riviera, so it's like in the Cannes area, like Cannes Film Festival. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. The Technicolor is just so great. Like, Technicolor is great, we all know that. But the way it brings out the colors of the French Riviera and all of the clothing and just the buildings, oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. And I think that that is just one reason everyone should see it. The story's great, obviously, like it's a great mystery, but the aesthetic is so good. The next film we are going to talk about is from 1956, and it is High Society. And this was directed by Charles Walters and stars Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, and Grace Kelly. A spoiled heiress must choose among 3 suitors: her jazz musician ex-husband, a stuffy businessman, and an undercover tabloid reporter. So if you've seen my 1940s video, I talked about a movie called The Philadelphia Story, starring Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and James Stewart. This movie, High Society, is the musical version of The Philadelphia Story. So it's practically the same story. There's like a few differences, but it's based on it. I love seeing the differences between the 1940 version and the 1956 version because Grace Kelly and Katharine Hepburn's different portrayals of the same character are so, like, it's so minuscule how different they are, but they make the character their own, and I just love that. And the music is great in it. Louis Armstrong's in it, Bing Crosby sings, Frank Sinatra sings, there's great music in it. So this next film, it's a real tearjerker. It's from 1957, and it is An Affair to Remember. It was directed by Leo McCarey, and it stars Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr. A couple falls in love and agrees to meet in 6 months at the Empire State Building. But will it happen? I don't want to give too much away about this movie because something very big happens like halfway through the movie that affects the story. So all I'm going to say is, if you need a good cry, this is the movie to watch. The ending will make you bawl your eyes out because it makes me bawl my eyes out, and it's the sweetest thing ever. But oh, I can't say enough good things about this movie. It's just so good. So the next film we are going to talk about is another Alfred Hitchcock movie, and it is from 1958, and it is Vertigo. And it stars James Stewart and Kim Novak. A former police detective juggles wrestling with his personal demons and becoming obsessed with a hauntingly beautiful woman. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I have heard that this movie, the inspiration for it is how Alfred Hitchcock treated his leading ladies in all of the films that he did, because he was known to be very brutal with his leading ladies. And in Vertigo, he becomes obsessed with Kim Novak. So I don't know if that's an actual thing or not, if that's what the inspiration was for this movie, but it makes sense. Another part of this movie that I really like is his use of color. He uses greens and like mint greens to be like a haunting kind of part of this movie. And I just really like that idea because it's so simple, but it's so haunting at the same time, and it just adds to that suspense, and that's what I really like about it. So the last film we are going to talk about is one of my personal favorite comedies. So it is 1959's Some Like It Hot. And it was directed by Billy Wilder and stars Marilyn Monroe, Jack Lemmon, and Tony Curtis. After two male musicians witness a mob hit, they flee the state in an all-female band disguised as women, but further complications set in. I think everyone would enjoy this movie, to be honest. I think people that are younger who haven't watched as many old movies would like it, and people obviously who are older love this movie. I think this is one of the funniest old Hollywood screwball comedies because I think a lot of people nowadays will understand it and think it's funny compared to screwball comedies of earlier times, because it's just, people can't really relate to the comedy of from the 40s and 50s because it's just not relevant now and they don't understand it. But I think this movie, since it's so before its time, everyone can understand the comedy and think it's funny, in my opinion. I don't know. If you go watch this movie, I don't know how you're gonna feel about it. I personally think that it makes sense in this day and age. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give it a like down below. Let me know if you would have added any movies to this list, or let me know down below if you want to see any other videos from me after I finish this series. And if you would like to share this video, that would be great too. And subscribe to my channel. This is a fun place. We talk about acting and films and pretty much everything else. Again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you soon. Goodbye!